Welcome along to Betting Weekly Premier League Show. You're with Dan Roebuck alongside me, Nigel Seeley and Jack Wright. Nigel, we have got new favourites for the Premier League. Arsenal, after the late show at St James's Park, are now plus 120 with Bet Rivers to win the title. Liverpool, after their late defeat to Crystal Palace, are plus 175. Have the books got it right? What do you think?
They have this week. Good morning to you. I mean, it's all changed, isn't it? This time last week we were saying that Liverpool were absolute certainties. Going to be very hard. It was a two-runner race, I remember saying at the time. I remember saying that at the time, thinking, you might actually regret saying that, Nigel. You might regret that. What I meant to say was really, I thought Chelsea might be out of it. Anyway, not after timing. But, yeah, I mean, in that week, Liverpool losing two matches in dramatic fashion against Crystal Palace, a no-show against Galatasaray. But let's be honest with you. I mean, Arsenal were far from convincing in midweek against Olympiacos. Gyökeres is still, the jury's still massively out on him. I'm not really convinced by him being a top-class centre-forward in the Premier League. So maybe there is another centre-forward doing the business for Manchester City at the moment. There may be a rebase on those. I know the Betting Weekly Insider ratings are moving Man City up. And so when I said last week it's a two-runner race, it's actually a three-runner race.
City are plus 500, incidentally. Jack, what do you think of the title race? Obviously, Arsenal had a challenging start to the season. They sort of come through that okay, despite dropping points against Liverpool and City. And now they've got a fairly good run coming up here. That's maybe one of the factors for Arsenal becoming market leaders.
Yeah, possibly. Greetings, everyone. Look, you're never going to get a flat line or a smooth line in a 38-game season, are you? You are going to have those peaks and troughs. Cliche, yeah, everyone plays everyone twice, so on and so forth. It evens itself out. And yeah, maybe Arsenal are in a good run of fixtures now, but they've got to win them. And Liverpool, we've said it all along, you know, I'm still happy holding that ticket. They haven't got probably out of third gear so far. They've been a bit fortunate to win games they've won. They were possibly unfortunate to lose so late on against Palace. What goes around comes around a little bit. And yeah, disappointing in midweek. So see how they go from here. But I think they've got so many gears to move into, and we know what they're about. And they've got that strength in depth and the firepower, I think, which will probably be the difference between the two sides. Arsenal's defence, yes, the best. I think Liverpool, though, will just have that firepower and win those games that can be a bit of a shootout.
Plus 175 at the minute if you fancy Liverpool. Arsenal are the favourites. Next up for Arsenal, West Ham. We'll talk about that game shortly. Then Fulham. And as far as the Premier League is concerned, then Palace, then Burnley, then Sunderland. That is a run, really, that they should potentially take full points from. Liverpool have got Chelsea away, Manchester United at home. Then Brentford away, then Villa at home, then City on the horizon as well. So, you know, it's all baked into the prices, I would have thought. Let's start our roundup then. Well, ahead of that, I'll show you the P&L first and foremost. I nearly
Start the roundup.
It's on my list to forget, but John likes me to put it up. There's the P&L on screen for you here. Fight Back starts this week, or was it last week or the week before? Either way, Friday night football coming your way in the Premier League. This weekend. Bournemouth versus Fulham. This will get the Sky subscribers up for sure. 3 p.m. Eastern. Bournemouth are minus 114. Favourites here, Nigel. They have dropped points in both of their last two games. Their expected goals registered against Newcastle was 0.5. Against Leeds was 0.7. This is about 1 goal drop from their previous average. Are they vulnerable here at minus money against Fulham? What you got for us?
I think this is quite a difficult match to start the weekend with. There's a lot of bets I like actually this weekend, so this one here isn't on my to-like matches. Bournemouth, brilliant start of the season, Friday night start with Liverpool, played really well. Everyone thought, hang on a minute, this side are going to do well this year. Left it late again, Liverpool, 4-2 defeat there for them. But then obviously the last couple of matches dropped back a little bit, but they have been tricky matches. Home to Newcastle, tricky match. Away at Leeds. Now, Leeds haven't lost yet this season. We'll come on to Leeds a little bit later. But you know, I still think Bournemouth are a proper side with a proper manager. Fulham, I think the question mark is more about Fulham. You know, they've always got that threat that their manager might walk away if he doesn't get the money they deserve. He thinks he deserves. They won their last 3 matches and then they played an Aston Villa side that everyone thought was struggling. For the first 15, 20 minutes, Fulham could have been 3-0 up, but they only were 1-0 up, and Aston Villa came back and won 3-1 in that match last Sunday. When you look at these two sides, you would think the first thing, without even breaking into it, you look at you think to yourself, you know what? The way these two teams play, the way the most managers like to play, you've got to fancy some goals. And when you delve into it, it's a match that doesn't really produce as many goals as you would expect. And this season, their home and away form, respectively, doesn't really see as many goals as you would think. Bournemouth, in their 4 matches at home this season, 3 of the 4 have seen under 2.5 goals. 1-0 home win against Wolves, a 0-0 draw against Newcastle. Obviously, they also lost that's in all competitions in the Cup as well. And if you look at Fulham, on their 3 road matches this season, 2 of the 3 have seen under 2.5 goals. And the only one that went over was the match last time out against Aston Villa. Last season, it was 1-0 to Bournemouth. This just, to me, has a look about a match where you would expect the public money to come for the over and the under money come for more of the pro. And I'm leaning towards, I'm betting like a public and I'm not producing the goods like a pro. But I think here, out of the 2 of them, I'll be looking to bet the under. I think under 2.5 at -109. I just think it's a little trap. Friday night's a strange kickoff time. It's players aren't used to that. Friday night football, under 2.5 goals, Bournemouth v Brighton would be my lean. But I have no real strong opinion on this match. I'm just looking at it purely and simply from a value perspective. Where you look at Bournemouth and Fulham this season, both of them aren't free scoring as they have been previously. Bournemouth at home and Fulham away. And I think that underline would be my angle of attacking.
One player that has continued his good form for Bournemouth is the focus of your lean in this game, Jack.
Yeah, it is, yeah. I agree with Nigel that I think you automatically assume this will be goals. Both teams to score is normally the go-to as far as Fulham are concerned. I was kind of looked to see what that was about, first of all, in this one. And then you realise that Bournemouth don't really concede, or their games don't tend to be, especially at home, don't tend to feature both teams to score at all. So only one of their last 6, in fact, at home have seen both teams score. And then you look at Fulham and you know that Muniz is definitely out and Raul Jimenez is likely, he's very doubtful. So who's going to score for Fulham is the question. So I think I would be certainly going on that unders or both teams to score no, in fact, if I was going to play those lines. But you're right, I've gone with their Bournemouth's main man, Antoine Semenyo. We won a few times on him last season. And I put him forward here. I was really surprised to see him to score or assist at +105. That's my lean. It was very nearly an official play, actually. But I say, I think with Fulham, for me, I just find it hard to read them. 1-2, tied 2, lost 2. Kind of sums them up, really. Not quite sure what to get. But I've gone with it as a lean in the end rather than an official play. +105. Really, really good form. He scored 8 of Bournemouth's last 15 Premier League goals. And he has started the season really, really well. 4 goals and 2 assists in those opening 6 Premier League games, at least one or the other in 4 of those games as well. So I think I was really surprised. So I expected to score or assist to be minus money and have to plump with one or the other, really. But to get both on side at +105 against the Fulham side, we know do tend to concede goals. And he got a goal in the first minute in this last season, and he got an assist in the reverse fixture. So he's got a good record recently against Fulham. So that's where I've gone for my lean on the Friday night. But again, like Nigel, it's not a game that really stands out particularly well for me this week.
I like both of those. I'm getting good vibes about this week. I think this is the week, Nigel. This is the week we turn it around. Leeds are don't look too confident. Leeds versus Spurs is the early game on Saturday, 7:30 Eastern. Leeds fans stateside will be getting up early for this one, getting in the bars. They're +180 here. Leeds, Nigel. Spurs are +143. I mean, they're solid at home, as you mentioned, unbeaten so far at home, 1-1 and drawn 2. And they seem to have found a style that suits. Obviously, last time in the Premier League, it didn't quite work out. They've got a real settled defence as well. Are they worth, taking Spurs on somehow with Leeds? What do you think?
Well, the one thing I would say is that we've highlighted this before when we've done the Betting Weekly live shows on the Saturday, that Leeds every single week they move in favour. The Asian syndicates and the late money always comes from Leeds. It's been out there. It's every single match in the Premier League this season. And every single match has been a negative towards Tottenham. So you can see where the money's going to go here, I would guess. I think that there'll be a market support for Leeds and a negative for Tottenham, because that has been what has happened every single time this season. Tottenham, to me, I think they're doing well. Obviously, they're changing their system, and they've only lost 1 in 11 matches. A few draws in that period of time. A few disappointing results. Last time out, the draw against Wolves would have been a disappointing result. It's a disappointing result for me, because I obviously bet Tottenham to win to 0 in that match. So I was very disappointed when I saw the goal go in. But there's a few things that have come here. I mean, Leeds' last match was a 2-2 draw. Tottenham's last match against Bodo Glimt was a 2-2 draw. 5 road matches for Tottenham this season. 3 of them already have been 2-2 draws. We say that Thomas Frank may not be as gun-ho in his approach as his predecessor, Ange Postecoglou, but there has been a couple of El Desmonds in these matches here, and, at double-figure prices, I wouldn't put anybody off having a bit of pizza money on the old 2-2. With regards to the proper play on the match or the proper lean on the match, I think the market will settle down with Leeds probably around about plus 170 and Tottenham drifting out to plus 160, which makes that draw price here at plus 250 a little bit of value for me. No real opinion. Obviously, Tottenham have got to deal with the trip back from Europe. I know it was on Tuesday, but this is a Saturday match as well, so that's not perfect for them. A lot of players still out injured. And it's going to, that's a young squad doing that kind of trip and then coming here, which is negative for him. Whereas Leeds at home, pumped up, big match in front of their home fans and be fully rested. That gives them a slight advantage. But I've got a feeling this could be a goal-scoring draw. So I think the draw here at plus 250 would be my lean. And if you want a bit of pizza money, very common score in recent matches for these two sides is 2-2. And at double-figure prices, let's have a little bit of pizza money on that as well.
Yeah, goals have been on the agenda when Spurs have played at Allen Road. Over 2.5 last 9 in all competitions. Over 3.5 for the last 5. Over 4.5 the last 2. Obviously, we're going back to a certain extent. And as Nigel pointed out, Spurs off the back of that trip to Norway. Jack, what do you like here? What are you leaning towards? No official play in this one from you.
No, another lean. I like Leeds here. Plus quarter goal. 0.25 Asian handicap. It's minus 134. So... avoid defeat, and we'll make profit of some description. Very strong at home. We've talked about this with these newly promoted sides this season. 2 things. 1, their home form is crucial. Sunderland and Leeds both got that real massive support, vociferous support, and it's worked well for them. Unbeaten, 2 clean sheets as well at home for Leeds. And not the easiest of games. Everton, Newcastle and Bournemouth. So they've not been given a clear, easy run in those ones either. So done well, really well. So this bet would have won in all those games so far. 5 of their 8 points have come at home. They've also recruited really well with those real big, tall, strong, powerful central defenders, strong, powerful midfield, new goalkeeper, albeit he's injured at the moment. But they've really looked to make that a focus point for what they're recruiting for. And going back over to last season as well, 23 games unbeaten at home. So super, super, super strong. I think that European night is a factor for Tottenham. And also the injuries. Solanke's now out until after the international break, which is a nightmare on more than one front. Also only won 4 of their last 7 league games against newly promoted sides as well. So that's going to go in the favour of this. And when you look at the data for this season, they've outscored their expected goals more than any other side in the league. So is it sustainable what they're doing? And when you see their top goal scorer across all competitions is own goals with 4, you'd possibly suggest not. Next best, Richarlison. But yeah, he's very handy, isn't he? Very handy to have. Richarlison and Van der Ven are the next best scorers, top scorers. So, we'll see how it goes. But I think that Leeds can get something from this, a positive result, and therefore the quarter goal start for me is the play, or a lean, at minus 134.
Yeah, I will be betting that for sure. Let's get to United against Sunderland. Now, last week, I said that no one's betting United at even money or thereabouts at Brentford, and they got beat, and surely nobody is betting them minus $2, minus 215 to beat Sunderland, who are plus 550. We have got an official play. Jack, you're first up with your 1 unit play on this one. Tell me that you're not backing United.
Of course I'm not. No. Sunderland, 1.25 Asian handicap, minus 127 is my 1 unit play. I said, look, the reasons talks about there. Manchester United. Can you buy into Manchester United? And at this heavy favourite, no chance. I'm going to take on that Sunderland can build on the momentum. I think they'll be desperate, Sunderland, to go into the international break with this momentum intact. They've carried it forward from last season, that playoff final win. They've surprised a few people with how they've gone about their business. I was even speaking to the hitman Hughesy yesterday, and he was giving Sunderland praise. So I'll whisper that quietly as far as his Newcastle buddies are concerned. But maybe he's talking about it in all the.
He won't be able to show his face in the big market this weekend, that's for sure. Not now, anyway.
Absolutely not. No, but look, I think again, same recruitment, big, tall, strong, powerful central defenders, and that's where I think these newly promoted sides have identified where the issues were last 2 or 3 seasons with the other newly promoted sides. Is they've just not had the strength and the power, the physicality to match, and they've got that. And in Granit Xhaka in the middle of the park, they've got someone who's been there and done it at the highest level, and that can't be understated. He's contributing at both ends of the pitch, but I imagine the leadership on the pitch and in the dressing room, in the locker room, is phenomenal. So, and that's completely against what Manchester United have got. They haven't got that leadership. They haven't got that midfield's the same. Amorim's keeping doing the same thing. This is his 50th game in charge, and he's not changing anything, and he's continually getting the same result. So for Sunderland, 11 points in their opening 6 games. They're up to 5th in the table. An absolutely stunning record. A great performance against Forest. They conceded a fair bit of XG, but they didn't look in massive danger and massive problems against them. A couple of big chances missed, admittedly, but that's a big win. Going to somewhere like Forest and pulling that win off as well. You know, best start by a newly promoted side since West Ham in 2012-13 sums up how well Sunderland have started this campaign. And United have conceded 11 goals and 56 shots this season. That's the worst ratio in the division, which sums up their problems. They can't keep goals out. They concede chances. They're not tracking runners from midfield. And they don't take their chances. You might see the XG going all at the top there. They're going to turn it around. But you've got to take into account that what happened if they had 4 penalties this season. They scored 2, missed 2. That's going to take a large chunk of that expected goals. If you look at the non-penalty expected goals, they're 7th. So it's a long way down. But it's like, still okay, but we've seen it before. You look at Hoyland now; he's gone to Napoli, he scored a couple of goals last night. It just seems to weigh heavy. And whilst we're still getting the same Man United, I'm prepared to take them on at 1.25 here. Even if United win by a goal, we still profit. So they've got to beat Sunderland by 2 or more goals here for this bet to lose. 1.25 Asian handicap, my 1 unit play on Sunderland.
Why are United so short here? I mean, Jack mentioned the expected goals. I mean, I looked at the stats, and they are top of the expected goals charts for the Premier League this season. Jack rightly points out, take the penalties out, and they're a little bit down. But I mean, I don't get why they're so short. I mean, they're playing awful. Amorim's doing the same thing every single week. Definition of madness. Get your dictionaries out. Look at definition of madness. Doing the same things, expecting a different result. I don't get it. Is it the syndicates? What do you think? Is it the metrics? Is it the modelling? No. Why are they minus 215 here?
I just think it's the fact that the public just bets Manchester United because of their name, and just everybody expects that they are going to turn it around at some stage. But we've been expecting Manchester United to turn it around for 3 seasons now, and or probably even longer than that. It hasn't happened. Their goalkeeper they've got rid of Onana, and the guy who's come in, he was awful the other day against Brentford. I mean, defensively, they're absolute shambolic. A huge investment on a striker that isn't probably up to this level yet. I mean, he's young, he's got potential to grow, but the pressure on his shoulders must be incredible. And you saw, like as Jack said there, Hoyland, people like that, when they come here and they're the number 9 for Manchester United, the pressure for young players, 20-year-old, 21-year-old players, is so big that they've got to turn it around immediately. And then they go away somewhere else where the pressure isn't on, and they thrive. McTominay, look what he's done. He's won the title with Napoli. Incredible. But, I mean, everyone just thinks that Man United are going to turn it around and Sunderland aren't going to continue where they are at this moment in time. But let's have a look at some comparisons here, really. That's where we've got to look at it from a betting perspective. Manchester United are minus 215 on the money line here. Sunderland the other week went to Crystal Palace, and Crystal Palace at home to beat Manchester United with minus 140. Now, if Manchester United and Crystal Palace played on a neutral pitch tomorrow, Crystal Palace would be an overwhelming favourite against Manchester United at this moment in time. Crystal Palace are probably rated the top 7 or 8 teams in the Premier League at this moment. Manchester United are very lucky to be in the top 10. Manchester United, when they played Nottingham Forest the other week, I know Nottingham Forest are on a bit of a decline, but Nottingham Forest are minus 133. Manchester United are minus 215. That one there, maybe, you might compare that and think that's probably not a bad comparison, but the Crystal Palace comparison is so wrong. They've conceded in every single goal that a game they played this season, Manchester United. That shows their defensive frailties. Sunderland will have to come here, and hopefully they'll go here and take the game to them. Burnley, probably one of the most negative teams in the Premier League, went to Manchester United and thought, we've got a chance to beat them here. Sure. A very negative manager in Scott Parker, and they came very close to doing it. They run them close in a 3-2 win from Manchester United. Manchester United scored that winner. I think it was a penalty, the winner. Yeah. And they celebrated as though they won the Premier League title. that is where Manchester United are at this moment in time. Sunderland have a realistic chance of producing a shock, and if they do produce a shock, it's got to be the M for hammering. I just think here, he's got to go there, the Sunderland manager, and he's got to think, I've got to go, and we've got to take the game to him. And I think both teams to score, yes, is a big price here, -121. I mean, this is, Man United conceded in every single game. Their defence is all over the shop, and Sunderland fifth in the Premier League compared to a side at 14 in the Premier League, and they're 550 on the road. I bet them last week on the draw no bet market and got me some money. Every part of me wants to get involved with Sunderland this week, but I'm probably falling into that public perception that Man United can't be this bad. They can't be this bad, but they probably are. I think Jack's approach to the Asian handicap is probably the right way to go, but I'm looking at both teams to score yes at -110 because they if he's got his best chance to keep that momentum going for the Sunderland side, and they're taking on a side that at this moment in time are a bottom half Premier League team and are in absolute turmoil, and put the pressure on them, and I think they'll score. So that'll be my bet here. Both teams to score yes -121.
I love that, but I mean, I don't know what's happened to United. And the thing is, look, United could easily win this weekend, but what we're saying is the price is wrong. I think the comparison with that Palace price and the way that that's priced up is a really good one, and that's something.
And that was only 2 weeks ago.
This is it.
It's not like it was like
this is it. We're not pulling out the games
ago
from years ago. It's relevant, recent modelling that doesn't add up one way or the other. United could easily win, and if they do, whatever. But there's no way the value, like those two bets from Jack, which is an official play, and Nigel's lean.
Other thing as well, Fernandes obviously missed 2 penalties at the weekend. So if you're looking for a goal scorer, and people used to put Fernandes in I don't think he'll be on penalties now.
And Boomer might be on it. I mean, he scored a lot for Brentford, didn't he, last season? And Boomer might be on it. Mind you, he's missing chances
and
himself.
Kuna as well, obviously. Penalties.
Possibly, yeah. Who knows? Just still miss. Anyway, Arsenal West Ham next up. We got Jack's hot dog coming up here. Arsenal are -$5 here. West Ham are 13-1. Shortest price that Arsenal have been against West Ham at home since October 2010. Alex Song with an 88th minute winner. They made hard work of it then. Will they make hard work of it here? The new Premier League favourites, Jack. Your hot dog is coming our way for betters. What you got?
Yeah, I'm riding the train that I've kind of been on all season, really, and which was actually been a rarely successful one for me. But I wanted to get Arsenal on side, I think, against West Ham. Nuno's not had the time yet to really impact West Ham, so I think there's still time to look at their frailties. My hot dog is Declan Rice to assist at +340. And it's just for those reasons that I've trotted out a few weeks running now. West Ham are so bad at defending set pieces and balls into the box, and this could well be the perfect storm. Arsenal are arguably the best at doing that, certainly from set pieces, certainly from balls into the box, and you think they'll have no qualms with looking to exploit that weakness this time round. Yes, look, West Ham will get better under Nuno. They will get tighter under Nuno, but I think that international break will be key time for him with the players that remain to get him on the training pitch, get these processes in that he's used to. A few days is probably not going to be enough, especially against the best at doing that. And Declan Rice has taken 51% of Arsenal's corners this season. He's on a lot of their set pieces, and also we've got him from open play. I fancy Arsenal, despite that midweek, kind of game in Europe, albeit it was at home. But I'm going to take him. I went on to Opta and pulled out a few stats just to highlight why Rice is such a great player. Which I'll read out for you. But you look at the game against Newcastle, where he was a real instrumental figure in that. Most touches, 105. Most completed passes, 75. Passes into the final third, 35. Line-breaking passes, which are important, 17. 10 crosses, 7 of which corners. And he carried the ball 29 times as well. So it shows you it isn't just him swinging corners in. He is in and around those areas, breaking the lines, getting around the box, feeding the ball into those dangerous areas. Created 3 big chances as well. He won possession 5 times, so he can win that high, because West Ham will be sitting very, very deep in this game. There's no question about it. He was on the bench against Olympiacos, which is a great thing. Only played for 30 minutes at the end, didn't he? So, across the season, he leads Arsenal for the total carries, overall carrying distance, all those metrics. ball into the final third, all those exciting things that are going to break down these sides. He is leading Arsenal in that as well. And of course, the set piece side of things is the extra thing. We know how much of a weapon it is for Arsenal. Since joining in 2023, no player across the Premier League has assisted more goals from corners than Declan Rice's 10. Arsenal have scored 46 goals in that period of time from set pieces. That's 9 more than the next best, which is Everton. And we all know West Ham's frailties in that area, and I think they will still persist just for a little bit longer. And I'm going to look to take advantage of it here with Declan Rice as my hot dog assist in there at plus 340.
Plus 340, the hot dog. Big price for Rice to have an assist. He's always on those left-sided in-swinging corners. Nigel, what do you like in Arsenal West Ham?
There's a few obvious ones. I mean, I've thought a couple of things like Jack said there. I mean, I looked at Gabriel and Saliba to score any time. Gabriel was plus 575. Saliba was 14-1 to score any time. Saliba was 40-1 to score the first goal. Gabriel was 15-1 to score the first goal. If you look at the West Ham have got a brilliant record against Arsenal in recent years, and Arsenal haven't won this fixture in the last 3 seasons. They got beat 1-0 last year, 2-0 the year before, and a 2-2 draw. And those defeats was the sort of start of their decline of not winning the Premier League title. People look back at those matches and think, well, we should have got, well, especially last year, we should have won that match, and that was the changing point in the Premier League title. So it hasn't been a good result for Arsenal. But I think they'll get the job done here. I think Arsenal to win 2-0 at minus 127 is always a go-to bet whenever Arsenal are at home against lower opposition in the Premier League. 4 matches at home this season. 3 of them they've won. Every single one of them they've won 1-0. Defence is probably the best in the world. But I'd just go back to that Gabriel and Saliba stat. I mean, Arsenal haven't won this fixture in 3 years, but when they've gone to West Ham, they've absolutely annihilated them. They beat them 5-2 last season at West Ham, and Gabriel scored the first goal, and they beat them 6-0 the year before, and Saliba scored the first goal, and Gabriel was also on the score sheet in that match as well. So the 2 centre-halves, very similar to what Jack's saying, 15-1 to score the first goal, Gabriel, 41 Saliba, 575 anytime, and 14-1 anytime for Saliba.
Yeah, there is a tab on the Bet Rivers website. I haven't seen the price at the moment, but you can, if you want to go something a bit different, is we've got that to score a header. If Gabriel's scoring is likely to be a header, we've seen that already this season. So that is an option as well to throw in amongst that, which is a very good angle of attack.
Yeah, I think you can mix the sort of Rice, Gabriel, Saliba, because those are the combinations.
Dreams can come true, can't they? Dreams can come true if we mixed up the Gabriel Rice.
Getting this hot dog will be like sunshine through my window.
Yeah,
it must have been a B-side, that one. Chelsea.
Outrageous.
Chelsea versus Liverpool next, 12:30 Saturday Eastern. Chelsea are plus 180, Liverpool Favs here plus 133. They have drifted a little bit. Nige, Chelsea a bit workmanlike, I thought, against Benfica. Liverpool, as you mentioned, lost away in Turkey. Liverpool about the same sort of price they were away at Newcastle, just a little bit bigger now. Not quite sure why we've had a bit of a price movement there. What are your thoughts on this one? Difficult one for me, this.
Well, I mean, Chelsea without their best 2 defenders.
Yeah.
Chalobah and Colwell still out. Yeah. I mean, that's a big loss for them. And also without their best 2 strikers, Cole Palmer and Liam Delap as well. So you know, they're depleted by injuries. If you look at the injury list that they have and the players out, they've got a lot of players. They've got a big enough squad to cope with it. But when Liverpool come to town, you want your best players. This was historically a match for unders for years and years and years. Liverpool v Chelsea, Chelsea v Liverpool. Bet the under 2.5 goals. Bet the 0-0. Bet the draw. You make money. I think there was 7 consecutive matches between these two. Where all draws, all unders, lots of 0-0s. But in recent years, there's been goals between the two of them. And I think these 2 versions of the side, they are so good going forward, both of these teams, but so poor at the back. It's got goals written all over for me, but you're not getting much value. I tried to find a way to get with goals. Both teams to score, yes, and over 2.5. It still pays minus 165. Too low for me, far too low. Over 3 goals, minus 106. It's a huge premium to play when you think there's no Cole Palmer. Liverpool must be lower confidence. They're still trying to get the best of Isaac. Salah is a shadow of the player of last year. He's got some serious problems there. Liverpool are conceding 8 of their 10 matches this season, and Chelsea conceded 6 of their last 9 matches this season as well. 6 of their 9 matches this season so far. So it's got to be goals. Small lean at over 3 at minus 106, but the market looks spot on with the goal markets here. But I couldn't have any confidence in betting both these sides. Obviously, Chelsea lost their unbeaten record in 2026 last week with the 2025 last week with the 1-0 defeat, the 3-1 defeat by Brighton. So they've got to bounce back from that. Liverpool vulnerable, hurt. Beware the wounded tiger.
Jack, quickly with your lean.
Yeah, really tough one to call for me. I think it's hard as well. You look at the stats, a lot of these games between the two sides this season so far have been featuring red cards, so it really makes it tough to read what's going on, but I think it'll be an open game. Injuries for Liverpool, Alisson and Ekitike both taken off in midweek. Interesting to see if they start, if they feature this week as well, because that will have an impact as well. I just went on corners because it was a real tough one, but I do like the attacking expectations of both sides. Over 9.5 corners, -129. You always know when it's a bit of a struggle when you dip into the corner market for your lean. But over 9.5 has landed in each of the last 7 league games for Chelsea. We know Liverpool generally feature a fair amount of corners, especially in games which can be a little bit open, like this one could well be. Only 3 of 6 this season, so a split down the middle. But it's that that Chelsea record that stands out. So over 9.5 total corners for me at -129 is a lean.
Next up, let's get Nigel's 2-unit play. Best bet of the weekend for Nigel coming your way. Wolves against Brighton here. This is Sunday, 9 a.m. Brighton -103. Wolves +270. Brighton have got a good record. Wolves, Nigel, will that continue at Molineux on Sunday?
I think it will. I think -103, almost even money for Brighton is a big, big price against a side that haven't won in the Premier League. And in the 16 matches since they returned to the Premier League, only 3 wins against this Brighton side. This Brighton team, we spoke about them very highly at the start of the season, thinking they could bounce into, push into the Champions League spots. They've thrown away winning positions. Brighton at the opening day of the season against Fulham, that last-minute game, they battered them. Should have had 2 more points than that. Tottenham, they let Tottenham back in when they were cruising in that match. And then, they've had to put a clinical performance last week against Chelsea. If they can replicate that kind of form, they'll beat this Wolves side. Wolves side did show a little bit of improvement in the Tottenham win, but Tottenham, to me, weren't at it in that game. And you do get times where Tottenham weren't at it. Wolves are still a side that are, going to really struggle in the Premier League. And Brighton are going in totally different opposite opinion here, in the opposite way of the table. I just think -103 is a big price. I would make Brighton probably about -136 for this match. I think they're that good. Wolves, I'm not convinced by them. 1 point is not a good return. If you look at their home form this season, they conceded 3 against Everton. They conceded 4 against Manchester City. They conceded 3 against Leeds as well. I mean, that's their home record in the Premier League. This is a free scoring Brighton side after scoring 3 goals at Chelsea and scoring 6 goals at Barnsley in the Cup. I can see them running this Wolves side pretty ragged. The way they play, they create so many chances, and against a Wolves side that are giving up so many goal-scoring opportunities and conceding so many goals, I think Brighton will fully take advantage of that. If you look at the last 4 seasons, 2-0, 4-1, 3-2, 3-0 this fixture. Brighton scored at least 2 goals in every single one of them, and this is a Wolves side that have conceded at least 3 goals in every one of their home Premier League games this season. Comfortable win for Brighton. -103 is my 2U pick.
A lot of good numbers pointing the direction of a Brighton win, and your lean sort of buys into that as well, Jack, to a certain extent.
No, totally buys into it. Over 1.5 Brighton team goals, -108 is the lean for all those reasons we talked about. Wolves changed to a back 4 against Spurs, which is was the only area of caution for me on this bet. But I like it. I like Brighton to win. Expect them to score goals in it. I thought Tottenham were poor in that game against Wolves, so I think Brighton to cause them loads more problems. As Nigel said, those goals conceded by Wolves this season are alarming at home, especially. And when you look at the recent record, well, Brighton 21 goals in 8 games this season, 2.63 goals per game. And you look at the record head-to-head over the recent seasons, they played 3 times last season, and Brighton scored 2 or more goals in all of those ones as well. 3 of the last 4 league game meetings as well. They scored 20 goals in the last 7 meetings between the two sides, with 2 or more in 6 of those 7. So that's the bet for me as a lean, but I have bet it. It's a lean, but it's -108 for over 1.5 Brighton team goals.
Also 9 a.m. Sunday, Newcastle Forest. Newcastle -155, Forest +400. Newcastle, really good performance, Nigel, I thought, against Union Saint-Gilloise. I thought that would be tricky for them. It wasn't. Forest are playing European football at the City Ground for the first time in 30 years or so when they lost to Bayern Munich. Erling Haaland's dad played in that game for Forest. Who played up front for Bayern? 95-96, Nigel. Quick quiz for you. Who played up front?
Alan
Two
McInally.
up front.
Alan
Two up
McInally.
front. No.
Who was it?
Come on. Jack.
I don't know. 95.
95-96. Have to hurry you?
Come
on.
Yeah.
Come on.
This should be
I
on
don't
the
feel
European
well.
show,
I've got a
really.
cold. I've got a headache. I don't feel well. And he asked me quiz questions like that.
Klinsmann and Papin. Nigel, what do you like here? Obviously, we don't know the Forest situation against Midtjylland, but I think Newcastle are good things.
Yeah, I think if you look at the last season, these ties played each other 3 times. There was 13 goals in those 3 times, and that was a Forest side under the management of Nuno. This is a new Forest side under the management of Ange Postecoglou. So I'm looking on the goal train here. I don't think the goal train's moved as much as I thought it would do, in the fact that Postecoglou's in charge. -129 for over 2.5 goals might not sound like a working man's price for some people. When you consider some of these Premier League football matches this weekend are going off like 145. -150, -129 for a free score in Newcastle side against the Nottingham Forest side who are defending all over the shop under Ange. That does look a decent price for me. May not be a working man's price, but I do agree with you. I think Newcastle will win the match and cover the spread. -155 on the money line. Again, too short, but probably been many people's parlays. I like Newcastle -1. It's +110. That could be the best way to go. I think that Newton Forest, as we said on this show many times, are under some huge pressure. That you've picked them up with Simon to be relegated at the start of the season. They haven't won a match under Ange Postecoglou, who conceded so many goals in that matches. I think they've conceded in every single match that he's been involved in. Sometimes they conceded 3 goals. They've conceded 3 goals in 2 of them, 2 in one and 1 in another one. And Newcastle on the back of a free scoring goals. And the other thing about Newcastle, Gordon scored, Harvey Barnes scored, lots of goal scorers. The new strikers getting goals as well.
Walter
What do I call him? Walter Marder. So I think there's Newcastle have got goals in them, and so I think they'll cover that spread here. And I think this could be difficult for Nottingham Forest. If you look at Newcastle this season, only lost 3 matches at home. They were against Liverpool, Barcelona, and Arsenal, and 2 of them were in the last minute. So it's a little bit deceptive to lose their 3 matches, and one of them, the Barcelona match, they were bet off the boards to win that as well. So the Newcastle home factor is strong. The market loves Newcastle when they play at home. Nobody likes Nottingham Forest at the moment. They're a side that a lot of bettors want to oppose, and I think Newcastle will be able to bounce back. It's, a lot of people like to have a negative for teams when they come back from European football, but Forest are playing in European football as well on the Thursday, admittedly at home. But I think Newcastle here -1 will win the job. Will get the job done. +110. But also like over 2.5 goals if you want to have if -129 would be your kind of price.
Yeah. Speaking of over 2.5 goals, Jack.
Yeah, that's my lean. I agree with everything we've said there. I fancy Newcastle. I fancy goals in it, and I like the fact that Walter Marder has obviously come in and has hit the ground running with those goals. That'd be great to get that kind of off his back, so to speak. Gordon, interesting, obviously on penalties now, scored 2 last night. So anyone looking at anytime goal scorers, first goal scorers, then he should be at the top of your list probably. Alanga and Barnes also in decent form, so they've got that rotation in those forward areas behind Walter Marder as well. So lots to like, and I think Forest have totally embraced Ange ball. It's open. They're conceding loads of chances. Expected goals in the league of 2.9, 2.0 and 3.7. Says if they're going to give plenty of chances up to this Newcastle side, they will take them, especially at home. So the extra day's rest. Forest, yes, at home in that Thursday night game, but have then got to travel up to the northeast. I say they leak so many chances. Terrible defending set pieces. I think Newcastle could have a bit of fun with this one, but over goals was my way in at -127 as a lean.
Villa, Burnley, another Sunday game. We've got Nigel's 1U play here. Villa are short -182 again. We don't know what they've done in the Europa League. We're recording ahead of their trip to Feyenoord and the De Kuip, where it's always a little bit
They won't like
interesting.
it there. They won't like it there. They get out there as quickly as they possibly can. I'll say they won't like that. They won't like that trip.
Yeah, you love Rotterdam, don't you?
Yeah.
Nigel, your 1 unit play in this game, Villa Burnley.
Well, I think Villa will win this despite the trip to Feyenoord. I think it's a match that they've got to start winning in the Premier League. Obviously, that was a huge win for them last time out. Back-to-back wins now as well. The win against Bologna was a good win, and then they obviously beat Fulham. They were all at home. This is another home match for them as well. The crowd will expect them to win this against a Burnley side that have been very, very leaky on the road. They've conceded 11 goals in their 3 matches on the road this season, and obviously they come across Haaland, a striker in form. And my bet here is for a striker who hasn't been in form, but I think that he will hit a bit of form, and that's Ollie Watkins to score at any time. Minus 117 is the price. It might not be a price that you might think, I might want a little bit bigger than that, but there's a few reasons why I like him. The first reason I like him is he was brilliant in pre-season, obviously, and he had a lot of chances but couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. Aston Villa were playing without any confidence, and he wasn't playing with any confidence. But he is a streaky player. I went through his stats for the last 3 seasons. Ollie Watkins last year, once he scored again in 6 matches. Like he went 6 matches back to back scoring goals last season. The season before, he did 9 matches back to back. So when he scored, the following week he scored again, and the season before that, all as a Villa player, he scored in 8 successive matches. So when he hits form, this guy does go on a run. He scored 5 in 3 in that period, 4 in 3 in that period, 5 in 5, 5 in 4, and last season he scored 4 in 4. So when he's in form, Ollie Watkins is full of confidence and scores goals. When he's out of form, he can't hit a barn door. So that is my thing here. I like Watkins. I think this is a match that Villa will win comfortably against a very, very leaky Burnley defence. I think they'll come good over the next few weeks. They've survived their scare against Fulham. The wins gives them confidence. I think they'll win this fairly comfortably. I think they can win by 2-goal margin. And Ollie Watkins, when he hits form, when he hits streaks, he is unstoppable. So minus 117, Ollie Watkins. He wants a good run as well. The England squad will be announced this week as well for the trips to the World Cup qualifiers and the home match against Wales. I think Ollie Watkins needs to get a couple of goals in this match to make sure that he's involved on a World Cup year. So Ollie Watkins, anytime goal scorer at minus 117.
Yeah, I looked at some stats regarding Burnley when they play sort of 4 at the back and 5 at the back, whether it's low block or whether it's not, and they're a bit more ambitious. There's always goals in the games. Doesn't seem to matter that much at the moment away at the better sides. Jack, what's your angle in here?
Yeah, I've gone both teams to score in this one. Yes, at minus 114. I like the Ollie Watkins player. I noted his price down. I was going to mention it in passing, but Nigel's covered that well. Burnley look the weakest of the promoted sides. They're conceding loads and loads of chances. They're conceding plenty of goals as well. And I think Villa can take advantage of it. I've gone with both teams to score purely, I think, based on the fact that Villa have got that midweek game, the Thursday game in Europe, and then to come there. And they have looked a little bit suspect defensively, gave up a few chances. Fulham obviously scored and could have scored a couple more as well. And Burnley do have an informed striker of their own in Jadon Anthony, who has scored in 4 of his 6 Premier League appearances this season. And he's plus 400. You think he's going to get on the score sheet. And I think if Burnley are going to score, which I do think they will, is likely, it could well be him. Plus 400 is a big price for those wanting to get involved in that market. The last 5 meetings between the two sides have seen this bet cash. The last 3 domestic games for both Villa and Burnley have seen this bet cash. And Burnley's last 5 of the last 6 have seen this bet cash. So, including their last 3 away games, including both Manchester clubs as well. So, both teams score, yes, is my lean, the minus 114. But I do like those goal scorer bets as well.
Got 3 units on the next game, Everton versus Crystal Palace, which is another Sunday game. Obviously, all the teams playing in Europe in midweek pushes games to Sundays. It's Palace who are away at Everton. It's almost each of 2. Let's go Jack's 2U play first of all here. Premier League form suggests, Jack, that the Palace should be favourites here, but they're not. I mean, Everton plus 160, Palace plus 185 here. 8 and unbeaten prior to that Conference League game tonight in Poland against Kyiv. What's the 2U play?
I've gone Palace Tino bet at minus 108, and the only thing that was putting me off it would be of tonight, and I didn't really like playing a side that are playing tonight because obviously there could be issues and injuries with it. But look, I love the bet, so I'm going to go with it. We've talked about Palace a lot. Nigel started it off last season. We've carried that trend on. There's nothing we've seen that would change my opinion of them. In fact, it's been enhanced. We've talked about the defence. They've got Sarr as a threat going forward. They've got Mateta we know about. Defensively, I think this game possibly comes down to the fact who's going to get the best out of the game. Grealish for Everton or Munoz for Palace. And I think Munoz can win that battle and ultimately therefore win the war for Palace. Certainly avoiding defeat, which would get us a refund on the 2 units if it does end in a tie. We've got on for a bit of a safety net option there. I obviously watched the game on Monday, Everton. I thought they were certainly in the second half disappointing. Everything went through Grealish. If they could snuff Grealish out, then you're onto a winning thing. And I think West Ham completely grew in confidence in that game and caused lots of problems for Everton and could probably have won it at the end. And I think Palace have got a much better and tighter defence. They've also got a better attack, more threat across the board as well. And I think they can do the business here with that. And the other key element is that I think Dewsbury Hall offers a lot for Everton, and he's going to be suspended for this one. So him missing,
good spot.
And the matchups, I think, where the key players are, all point towards Palace here. If it hadn't been for that Thursday night game, I'd be absolutely, completely all in on this and probably would have gone more of an aggressive play. But I've gone with a tie, no bet with this Palace record. They obviously avoid defeat tonight. They've set a club record, undefeated games, and they want to obviously take that and then go and kick on again this Everton side and go and into the international break still undefeated. And who knows? Could they be going into the international break top of the table? We'll have to wait and see. But I'm going to take them to tie no bet at -108 as my 2 unit play.
Won't surprise me if there's a bit of support, Nigel, for Palace ahead of the game if they come off the back of that trip to Poland with a positive result, clean bill of health and that sort of thing, that the market could shift around a little bit. You were at Everton, of course, on Monday. How do you assess them? And do you think, Palace are overpriced or Everton can get a point here? What do you think?
I'm not sure whether Palace will be bet, because of that trip to Kiev and, quite, not a small squad, but a squad that is inexperienced in that level. I think Palace use a lot of work on hard work and ethic and organisation. And I think and Everton are trying to do exactly the same as that. I think these two sides will cancel each other out. With regards to this Everton, I mean, I was going there. We were saying it'd be brilliant and it would be a brilliant atmosphere. It wasn't as great as I thought it would be. Actually, it was a pretty poor match, and the atmosphere wasn't as good as it was. I mean, I'd been at Goodison Park before on a Monday night, and the atmosphere there was better. Obviously, you've got to remember that the game wasn't that great, so it wasn't brilliant. Obviously, for my bet, I had Everton quite strong, and the news that West Ham had sat their manager into the build-up, I think Everton would have probably won that very differently if Potter was in charge. I think it would have been a different game. But anyway, that's been and gone. This match here, obviously, the first thing you look at is under 2.5 goals. That's the first bet, but it's -175. I can't be betting that. So I've got into a little bit of a prop market. This wouldn't surprise me to see this be 0-0 after an international break. Before the international break, after a trip to Europe, I think Palace will be so hard to break down. From what I see from Everton, they rely so heavily on set pieces and crosses into the box. And the best team in the world, the best team in England at the moment to deal with them is Crystal Palace. So this wouldn't surprise me to see them be very low scoring. We've spoken about Crystal Palace this season already, about their corner stats, and I've delved into the corner stats on my hot dog here. Very rare to me to do this, but I've been waiting for a moment to do it. Crystal Palace in their matches this season averaged 10 corners, but they've only got 3.17 corners themselves. So they've given up 6.83 average on their matches. And Everton this season have only got 3.83 corners and given up 4. So they average 7.83 corners. Very, very low corner stats from both sides, how many they get per match. If you look at Everton this season, in the match against West Ham, they only got 3 corners. There was 8 corners in the match, but Everton were only responsible for 3. Against Brighton, they got 2, but they did get 10 against Aston Villa in 13, but that was a match they were pushing and Villa were hanging on for dear life. That's 7.75 average for them in their matches at home. If you look at Palace on the road, they went to Chelsea. They only got 2 corners in 13. They only got 1 at Villa in 10 corners. It's got a match with 10 corners. Villa got 9 of them. They did get 8 in their other match against, I can't remember who that was. I can't see my writing. Let me read my writing. It was 8 against West Ham. They got 8 against West Ham. But we know that the game plan with West Ham is get the ball into the box and try to get amongst them. I got a feeling these two will play out a very low scoring game. I don't think there'll be anything in it. And if you look at the corners, both of these at home and on the road, they don't produce many corners here. So I've moved the toggle down. I think the line is 9.5, and I've moved it down to 7.5 to get me over the 2-1 market. And it's plus 235 under 7.5 corners in this match. I got a feeling there's not going to be many corners, there's not going to be many goals, and I think they'll cancel each other out, get a point, and go into the international break with a positive attitude of how their season started.
Like that one. The thing is as well with Grealish, he's still got a lot of sit in him, hasn't he? He doesn't sort of drive to the byline and get the crosses in. He still sort of wants to cut back and sort of play it safe. Well, I don't know about playing it safe. I was just trying to find his take on stats there. He doesn't seem to rank anywhere near the top sort of 25, 30 when you consider that Doku's at the top of that, and Bowen and Jai players that like to take players on. So yeah, the jury's out for me for Grealish. I know that he's potentially had a good start, but that might sort of lean into fewer corners. We shall see. That's Nigel's hot dog at plus 235. One last game to rattle through here because we're running out of time. Just a few leans from the boys. It's Brentford Man City. Nigel, let you go first. This is technically the big game on Sunday in the UK because it's 11:30 a.m. kickoff. City are minus 165, 2-2 with Monaco in the Champions League. Are they right to fade here? Because we talked about Brentford last week, talking about, are United poor? Are we over-egging or under-egging them? Same with Brentford. Brentford won the game last week. I don't know. What do you think?
I think Man City are a team that are improving fast. They've got their players back now. The players coming back. Rodri could be coming back. Mamouche will be coming back. I mean, they're all, El Nouri, the defender from Wolves, is coming back as well. So they went through a blip without players and still won football matches. They were struggling against Burnley, and then Haaland turned up. Haaland again done the business. And anything you've got to do on this match, you've got to look at the Erling Haaland for any value. I mean, what he's doing at the moment is better than he's ever done in the Premier League, and it's a frightening thought. 17 goals so far this season in 10 appearances across all competitions, 2 or more in 5 matches. Failed to score in just 1 match out of those 10 matches. Scored in his last 8, 3 goals in 5 against Brentford, plus 310 to score 2 or more. Minus 141 anytime goal scorer. I mean, how can we not be playing Haaland the way he is at the moment? Very close to being my hot dog, plus 310, 2 or more. He's got 2 or more in 5 of his 10 starts this season, and you're getting bigger than 3-1 about something that should, statistically so far in the season should be even money.
You are going to mention Haaland as well, Jack, but just give us your lean anyway. Did you give us a lean in that, Nigel? What are you going for in the end? What are you saying, Haaland?
Haaland not to score. No,
Haaland anytime.
Haaland 2 or more, plus 310.
Plus 310. You've got a Haaland angle as well, Jack, but you've got another lean as well.
My lean's, minus 1 Asian handicap, Man City. I just think they're much, much better than Brentford. I'm not taking that Brentford win over Manchester United into too much context. I think they're still trying to find their feet under Keith Andrews. We're still trying to find a little bit of a read because they seem to lurch from a decent result to a poor result. I think they'll get a poor result in this one. The minus 1 Asian handicap is plus 100, and I thought that was a real good opportunity to have a free swing. It was nearly an official play for me here for them to win by 2 or more goals. Haaland is unstoppable. Doku as well has gone under the radar a little bit. 3 assists for him this season. Only Grealish has got more, so they've got the ability to provide for Haaland. And they've such a strong unit. Reinders as well performs exceptionally well. And I think only Burnley have got a worse defensive process than Brentford. And they're getting away with it a little bit. I don't think they'll get away with it in this one at all. And I think Man City could go into the international break on a real big high here. Same process that Keith Andrews is trying to follow, although he's a new manager and he's not to Thomas Frank's level. So used to be they had a little bit of a hoodoo over City, but City won. They've won 3 and only tied 1 of the last 4 meetings. So I think that run will continue and they'll get a positive result here and win well.
Okay. What was your Haaland angle? Did you have an Haaland angle?
It was the same, yeah. I said Haaland was minus 118. It opened up, which was an incredible price. Obviously, it was going to go, but yeah, I think that you can't get away from the fact that he's going to score and probably score 2, if not 3 goals. I've even seen Bet Rivers have priced him up to score 4 or more. Go as high as you want with him. Sky's the limit, isn't it?
Yeah, incredible, really. Unbelievable. Haaland, we're all in on, and Jack likes City minus 1 on the Asian line at even money. We have run a little bit long, so we're going to wrap it up. Nigel, Jack, thanks for your company. Good luck to one and all. Tell us what you're betting in the comments. We're available over the course of the weekend to praise your thoughts on match day 7 of the Premier League. That is your lot. Don't forget, 11 a.m. Eastern every midweek day. We have got Betting Weekly Live. Lots of good winners from the boys on the Champions League this week. We're going to be back in a couple of weeks' time. International break, of course, for your betting pleasure. We'll have plenty of content for all the weird and wonderful World Cup qualifiers, CONMEBOL, and so on. From all of us, for now, though, it is goodbye.